Hi, I'm Jara from BioDome, and today we're here to find out if you can cook microgreens, and if so, what's the best way? So we should probably start by figuring out what are microgreens. That's the first question that we're going to have to answer. So these right here are microgreens. This is our greens mix. It contains a purple lettuce, Lola Rosa lettuce, and a Boston butter lettuce. That's one of the ones that you might usually find on like a burger or a sandwich or something like that out at a restaurant. So microgreens, they're basically just little baby versions of plants. So these are lettuces. You can see here that they're just tiny versions. And why do we harvest them as these tiny sprouts? We harvest them as these sprouts because they actually have more nutritional value when we harvest them as sprouts, because plants, when they need to grow, they uptake nutrients into the root, through the root system and into the plants, and that spreads out into the leaves. And when they're babies, like these ones are here, they actually hold more nutrients inside of them than they do when they're adults, because they're still growing and they need that extra nutrition in order to be able to grow even bigger. So when we harvest them as tiny foods, tiny sprouts like this, then they get to be even more nutritionally packed, and they're still the same amount of calories as their larger counterparts in a full-size version of lettuce. They also have a more mild flavor. You can do any form of herbs or leafy greens. You can do those all as microgreens, or even if you like broccoli or if you like radishes or things along those lines, you can do those as microgreens as well. And the cool part is we can eat every single part of a microgreen: the leaf, the sapling, and the stem, and the roots as well as the seeds. You can see some of them have little seeds on them, but they're easy. You can eat them. They're a great way to add nutritional value to sandwiches, salads, garnishes for meals if you'd like to do it that way as well. But today we're here to see if we can cook these, and if so, what's the best way that we can do that. So, just like everyone else does when they want to find out their answers to a dumb question, I went to Google first and I typed in, "Can you cook microgreens?" And to my surprise, there were actually a couple of studies that had been done on this, and there were a few blog posts and articles about it as to whether or not you could cook them. The resounding answer across Google was yes, you can actually cook microgreens, and you can cook them in any way that you could cook any other form of normal leafy green. So think about how you would cook maybe spinach or collard greens, mustard greens, arugula, kale, any of those. Any way that you would cook those, that will apply to your microgreens. But here's the thing that I found out from the research studies. The research studies showed, just like any other vegetable that you're cooking, your microgreens will lose nutritional value as you're cooking them. But we have to remember that our microgreens are starting at an even higher point of nutritional value than normal types of greens. So this might mean that cooking down microgreens is actually going to provide better nutritional benefits than cooking the full-sized version, such as spinach or collard greens or whatnot there. The study showed that it depends on the amount of time that you're cooking the microgreens for, or any vegetables for, and that's going to determine how much nutritional value they're going to lose. So we're going to try out a couple different ways of cooking them today, and we're also going to try out a couple different times in terms of the cook methods. So we saw in the studies that somewhere between 5 minutes or less, you're only losing about 10% of the nutritional value. Then when you move on to 15 minutes or less, it's losing something like 20 to 30% of the nutritional value. And then finally, when you cook your microgreens for 30 minutes or more, that's when you're going to lose over half of the nutritional value within the greens. So I don't know if we really want to be cooking our microgreens for 30 minutes or longer, but we're going to give it a shot and we're going to see exactly what it comes out as. Maybe it'll taste good. I'm really not sure. So we're going to try and figure out what's the best range for nutritional value, as well as the best way to cook it for taste. Today, we're going to try to saute these. We're going to do that with some olive oil and some garlic, just like you would with spinach potentially. And then we're also going to try lightly steaming them because that's something that I saw. So let's get after it. The first way that we're going to go ahead and cook our microgreens is going to be steaming them. So we've got our pot, we've got our steamer, and then we've got a lid, and we're going to try this for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and 30 minutes to see how they come out. Then we're going to use some lemon, and we're going to toss them in some garlic. I just bought the pre-minced garlic. That's the stuff that I like to use usually. So let's go ahead and get started here. Just going to take our water, pour it into pot, and then we can take that pot, we're going to take it to the stove, and we're going to go ahead and get that boiling. Okay, so while we're working on boiling the water, let's get our lemon and garlic mix put together. Let me go run and grab a knife real quickly. Knife. Just gonna cut up this lemon so that we can use it. We're gonna need it in at least 3 pieces here. There we go. Got our lemon chopped up. Now let's go ahead and some garlic. I happen to like garlic quite a bit, so we're gonna use about a tablespoon of minced garlic there. And then we can add our lemon. Let's get a little bit more lemon in there. Some lemon. Here's the olive oil. Okay. Now we have a nice little mix that our steamed microgreens will get tossed in. Let's see. Our water is in fact boiling, which means our microgreens are ready to go in. Let's go ahead and we'll grab them here. So for this test, this will be the 5-minute microgreens test. So let's grab a nice big handful of microgreens here. We'll toss them in. And then I will set a timer for 5 minutes. And let's look in and see our microgreens in there. Okay, so yeah, they're pretty nicely steamed. So that's 5 minutes. What we're going to do here is we'll take a nice little, take part of them out of here. So that's probably a good amount. We're going to toss it in here with our garlic and lemon and our olive oil. Now we can see the 15 minutes cooked microgreens. They look like they are pretty cooked down at this point. I don't know if we're actually going to go for a full 30-minute cook on this, but let's get these out. Let's toss them in our lemon garlic olive oil sauce, and we will see how they are. Okay, this is the last bit I left in there. It's been 20-something minutes, not quite 30 yet. But we're going to take this stuff out and we'll see how it is. It does not look like it's going to be particularly good. Okay, now we've steamed them, so let's go ahead and saute them with a little bit of olive oil and some garlic again, and we'll see how they come out. So. Okay, so we got our olive oil going at a medium-low heat here. We're going to go ahead, take some of our minced garlic, and get that started. Let's go ahead and get our microgreens in the pan. And as you can see, we got all those microgreen seeds in the bottom. These seeds are completely healthy to eat, completely normal to eat. And those and the roots are all very good for you. So yeah, highly recommend that you try them. Just like flax seeds or sunflower seeds, these microgreen seeds, they were just the casings that the sprouts came out of, and they'll taste pretty good. They don't really taste like anything, honestly. They just add a tiny bit of crunch. My dad thinks they taste a little like sand. So let's go ahead and cook these up for 5 minutes in the saute pan, and we'll see how they come out. So this is something that I did not do on the last ones, but let's go ahead and add a little salt and pepper. Let's add some salt and a little bit of pepper. We're just about done here. Let's go ahead and grab a plate and scoop some of these out. These will be our 5-minute ones. This will be our first test. Let's see, maybe a little bit more. So that's after 5 minutes there of being sauteed. Okay, here's all three in a side-by-side comparison. There's 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and almost 30 minutes. It looks like that one got a little extra olive oil on it, but nonetheless, let's see how they are. Okay, so here we go. Here's a taste test of the 5-minute long cooked micro lettuce with spinach, or with garlic, olive oil, and a little bit of lemon on there. Let's see how they taste. Interesting. It's kind of mushy, but all in all, the flavor's pretty good. I think if I went a little heavy on the lemon in there, you definitely taste the lettuce coming through. It doesn't quite taste like a spinach or anything like that. It might be good in a stir fry or something like that, potentially, is what I'm thinking. All in all, 5-minute cooked microgreens with lemon, olive oil, and garlic. At least for the micro lettuce, I think I would give this a 5 out of 10. It seems like it's decent, but I don't think that this is the type of thing that I would make as a side dish to serve to my family or anything like that over the holidays or anything along those lines. It's not amazing. I think maybe it needs a little bit more complexity, or maybe they need to go in something a bit more. The lettuce doesn't really shine on its own, I don't think. So we'll try something else and we'll see. Maybe the 10-minute cooked ones will be even better. Let's go ahead and try the 10-minute cooked steamed microgreens with the lemon, olive oil, and garlic. You can see this is what they look like now as I'm spilling some on the floor. These look really soggy, and they're kind of clumpy, and they're all stuck together. So we'll see how they are. Well, they're really chewy, but they're sort of the consistency of spinach now, I would say. This to me tastes kind of similar to a steamed spinach if you were to give it a little bit more of a lettucey taste to it. But it's definitely got the texture of a steamed or a cooked spinach. And it's actually, I think it's better than the 5-minute cooked ones. I think I went too heavy on the lemon in these, but I like these at 15 minutes cooked. I still am not quite sure how I feel about the lettuce taste, but I think these could be a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10 probably. I think they're better than the 5-minute steamed ones. All right, time to try number 3 of the bunch. Here you can see roughly what it looks like. This is definitely soggy, definitely waterlogged, and as we already know, it's probably lost 50 to 60% of its nutritional value at this point. So not sure that there's much reason to do this. It looks kind of gooey and yeah. Well, there it goes for you guys. Not as globby as I thought it would be. It's really lost all the bitterness that it had in the previous 2. I think that it lost some of the bitterness in the 15-minute long cook. They are very, very bitter in the 5-minute cook, but actually not nearly as bad as they look. But they are definitely not recommended. I think they're slightly better than the 5-minute steamed ones, but I don't think they're as good as the 15-minute steamed ones. I definitely went way overboard on the lemon across all of them. If you're going to use this method ever, you should definitely go a little bit less with the lemon, a little bit more with the olive oil, and I think that'll come out pretty well. Okay, let's go ahead and check out our 5-minute sautéed microgreens. See how they are, just olive oil, garlic, some salt and pepper. Okay, these are really chewy. You definitely get a lot of the seeds in there for sure. I can tell I dumped them in. They're kind of crunchy. And it's quite bitter, I would say, but not terrible. I think these are actually better than the steamed. I think if you're going to go with a method at this point, I would recommend sautéing them. I think they started to come out better. We'll see how the 15 and the 30-minute sauté ones taste, but texture not quite as good as the 15-minute steamed ones, but the taste is definitely a lot better. Maybe because I didn't use the lemon, maybe because the garlic is cooked in with it and it soaked some of that up. I'm not quite sure, but I like these a decent amount actually, and the bitterness isn't terrible. So, all right, now we've got our 15-minute cooked microgreens here. These are the micro mixed lettuces, Lola Rosa and Boston butter lettuce. So it's in just olive oil, garlic, salt and pepper. See how it tastes after 15 minutes, and then we'll get to the 30-minute one, I guess. Okay, so if you couldn't tell by now, they are extremely, extremely chewy. I will say that the flavor, the bitterness is stronger up front, not quite as strong on the back end this time around. But it sort of tastes a little bit like a broccoli rabe or something along those lines. The flavor is pretty solid. It's just that they're so darn chewy now. It feels like it takes forever to get through them. So I don't know if we'll be able to get through the 30-minute cooked ones at all in terms of the sauté, but there you go for the 15-minute one. Just super, super chewy, but a much better flavor. I think we're still, in terms of rankings, I think I've got the 15-minute cooked steamed one as my favorite thus far. followed by the 5-minute sautéed one. Maybe there's some sort of a medium there. Maybe there's a 10-minute sauté or something, or a 7-minute sauté that will be better in terms of improving the bitter aftertaste. I'm not sure. Okay, finally for the 30-minute cooked. Let's look. That's 30 minutes of sautéing. That's what it looks like there. Here. So it looks like it's browned a little bit. It's not quite as mushy as the 30-minute steaming, but we'll see how it tastes. Seems to be more bitter. Probably a little less chewy than 15 minutes of sautéing. I don't know. Honestly, I don't really recommend any of these ways. I think that realistically, if you're going to use your microgreens, maybe you could saute them for somewhere in between 5 and 15 minutes. They definitely need something to cut through the bitterness. Maybe something fatty like a bacon or a sausage. They might work okay in a pasta filling or something if you used a cream cheese or something along those lines. Maybe they'd be okay in a dip or a filling for a ravioli or something along those lines. Maybe they would go okay inside of a stuffed mushrooms or something along those lines. But the good news for you guys is that I am not done trying to figure out how to make microgreens taste good cooked. We know we can cook them for sure. We know that they come out okay, but now I'm determined to figure out if we can make microgreens taste great. So I've got a bunch of ideas. I've looked online a little bit more even before this video, and we're going to test up a bunch of different ways. So stick with us. We're going to do a whole series on it. If you like watching me eat some questionably tasting microgreens in various different cooked formats, stick with us and you'll get to see more of that. I'm subjecting my family as well to having to taste these various different microgreens. So we'll definitely put in what everyone's scores are at the very end of the video so that you guys can see, compare and contrast. So yeah, I'm Jero with BioDome. This has been Can You Cook Microgreens? And if so, what's the best way? The answer is, so far, we haven't really found a good way to cook them yet. And we're just going to keep trying.